Good evening, everyone, and very warm welcome to all the participants from S-Chan Publishing. I'm Rupa from S-Chan Publishing. We are proudly presenting you our today's webinar series specially curated for our pre-primary educators, which is in continuation from July 14th. So we have started and we have already had 5 webinars. This is the 6th one. This webinar would be taken by our expert, Ms. T. Rajeshwari, ma'am, who will address today on 6th and final session on how to make young learners competent in foundational numeracy. This would be an hour session from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So before we take you to the webinars, there is an important announcement to be made. Today is a quiz and competition, and these are the important points. I request all the audience to take note of it. So we'll be announcing 3 winners based on test score. Each winner will receive an Amazon voucher worth ₹5,000. If there are more than 3 winners, we will select 3 individuals based on lucky draw. Only registered participants will be eligible for the prizes. Participant registered for the S-Chan CPD sessions on the 16th and 29th July. Okay, all the sessions that were held from 16th to 29th July. If you want to revise your concepts, please visit your YouTube channel to access all the session, right? So today's session is on students' competency on foundational numeracy, right? So before we move further, housekeeping rules for this webinar is, as you all know, participant will be muted throughout the entire session. Please ensure that you have pen and paper so that you can note important information. The chat box will be enabled during the question answers round and disabled for rest of the session. For e-certificate, teachers must fill out the feedback form to receive an e-certificate. After the session, there are 2 important announcements. One is already made. After the session, we'll have question answers round, and then we will have a quiz for which link we will be sharing in the chat box. And then you have to fill up the feedback form, which will be sent to the registered email ID. So with this, I will warmly welcome our today's speaker of the day, Ms. T. Rajeshwari, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am, to the session again. And I'm sure now everybody knows about ma'am, but still I just read out your details. My Ms. T. Rajeshwari, ma'am, is an early childhood education specialist. Currently, she is heading and supporting early years program development and execution department for Scholar Education Services, Hyderabad. She holds a diploma from University of Cambridge International Examination in Teaching Methodology and an MBA in Education Management. She has a diploma in Early Childhood Education, post-graduation in HRM, MPhil in Commerce, a BEd, and MA in Childcare Education. She is an authorized assessor for quality accreditation audits through the Quality Council of India, which is associated with NABARD. So welcome from all the participants also, and also from the S-Chan. And we request all the audience to just take note of things that are will be shared by ma'am. So welcome, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, Rupa. Thanks for this opportunity again. Yeah, just give me a minute time to just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Good evening, one and all. How are you? And yes, today is the last session, but yeah, this is going to be a memorable session. I'm sure that you're going to have a good takeaways from this session also. But before I step into the session inputs, I wanted you all to just experience a number game now. Take up a pen and a paper again. Now I wanted you to write your favorite number. Just write your favorite number. Your favorite number. And just guess, why is that number favorite for you? Just think and express one statement about why is that number favorite for you. Yes. Okay. And then now you have to tell me, how many years of experience do you have in your teaching? I wanted you to write the number. How many years of experience do you have in your teaching? Write your number. And you as a teacher, you're handling your class, and I'm sure that all my pre-primary teachers are the princes, they are the queens for their own kingdom. It means you have your own class setup, right? And yes, how many that is students this does this queen handles every day? I wanted you to write the number. How many students does this queen handles every day in her class? Write the number. And what is your lucky number? Write the number. What is your lucky number? Write your number. I believe that we have done this work. Now tell me, what did we do? We just used numbers with different emotions. See, you had a little bit of smile. You had your what do you call, you had a little bit of thoughts, you rewinded, I made you to recollect your classroom experience. I made you to actually revisit your profession, but still you were able to relate with the number. It means numeracy is applicable in every stage, be it getting your salary on time, or be it you go thinking about a shopping, be it you wanted to go for a movie. Immediately one thing comes to your mind is the numbers, right? So number is a lifelong journey which will come along with us throughout our lifespan. So right from early years, the strong foundation of numeracy and numerical development is very, very important. And we, as early years educators, we need to feel really strong and committed to ensure that all our learners are experiencing a wonderful numeracy development. So with this, let me step into the session now. Yeah. The foundational numeracy is of utmost importance in the early childhood education, as it forms the basis for developing strong mathematical abilities and problem-solving skills, which is definitely it is going to help in the later lifestyles. And I wanted to list out few key points which highlights the importance of foundational numeracy. Foundational numeracy lays the groundwork for all the future mathematical learning. It equips young learners with essential skills and concepts, ensuring that they have a solid foundations for more complex mathematical topics in the later grades. And numerical skills are fundamentals for the daily life activities such as counting money, telling time, measuring ingredients, and for while it is cooking, and understanding patterns and making estimations. A strong foundation in numeracy enables children to navigate everyday challenges with confidence. Engaging in numeracy activities stimulates cognitive development in the young children. It enhances their memory, critical thinking, problem solving, and reasoning skills, and all of which are crucial for the overall cognitive development. And when we talk about the early success in numeracy builds children confidence and interest in math, Otherwise, you would see children hate math. They will have the fear to see the math teacher, in fact. And yes, when we talk about proficiency in the foundational numeracy correlates with improved academic performance in the later years, and students who possess strong numerical skills tends to excel not only in mathematics but also in the other subjects. They require analytical thinking and the data interpretations in the later stage. And yes, numeracy is essential for the problem solving skills in various real world situations. It empowers children to analyze, interpret, and solve problems logically. It also leads to better decision making abilities throughout their lives. And yes, in today's world where technology and the data play a significant role in almost every profession, numerical skills are essential for the wide range of career development, and the strong foundation of numeracy opens up opportunities for the future success in any of the field. And yes, foundational numeracy helps the children develop fluency in numbers, mathematical operations, and they develop the fluency. This fluency allows students to perform effective, that is the operations, the math operations effectively and accurately, and which will enhance their overall mathematical proficiency. And yes, early identification of numeracy difficulties enables teachers and the parents to provide a timely intervention, ensuring that struggling students receive necessary supports to catch up the progress in their learning difficulties. And yes, to conclude, the overall when we talk about the foundational numeracy is not just about teaching numbers. It is almost empowering young minds our early years with the tools and techniques they need to understand and navigate to the mathematical world around them, and fostering a lifelong love for learning and problem solving will happen only through the number readiness. And when we talk about what is foundational numeracy? Yes, foundational numeracy refers to the essential mathematical knowledge, the skills, the concepts that the young children need to develop during their early years of education. And yes, it encompasses a range of fundamental mathematical abilities that serve as a building blocks for most of the learners, where the advanced mathematical learning would definitely help them to progress in the later stage years. And yes, foundational numeracy focuses on equipping children with a strong mathematical foundation to ensure their success in numeracy and related subjects throughout their academic journey and also beyond. And yeah, there are a few key components which I wanted to share with you when it comes to understanding the sequence of numbers and ability to count the object accuracy. And it also, that is the foundational numeracy, would help the children to identify and recognize the numerals and the quantities. It helps them to understand that each object corresponds to one number when counting, and it helps them to grasp the concepts of numbers as quantity that represents the specific quantity of objects. And it helps them to understand the concept of more, less, equal to, greater than, lesser than. Why? It means the comparison happens with the stimulation of why it is called more, why it is called less, why this number is big, why this number is small. So it means the child can associate with the quantity or the value. Right. And when we talk about the basic operation, yes, here the foundational numeracy will help children at this early years to develop early skills in additions and subtractions, even if on the basic levels. And it helps them to recognize and identify basic shapes and understanding in a simple pattern. And it helps them to introduce basic concepts of measurements such as length, weight, volume, distance. Right. And then it helps them to understand the basic spatial concepts like positions, directions, and orientations like up, down, left, right, forward, backward, all these things are the spatial awareness that has been created at this early years. And it also encourages them to encourage them to evolve into the critical thinking procedure and also the problem solving skills within the given text, right? And here when we talk about the foundational numeracy, it is typically taught in the pre-primary class, and once the foundation program is stabilized properly in the pre-primary class, the children will master and they master their competence in adopting the numerical skills, and they will showcase their confidence in any level of analytical reasoning, problem solving techniques. Yeah. And when we talk about the foundational numeracy, which covers the range of essential concepts and skills that are crucial for the young learners' mathematical development, and these concepts and skills provide the groundwork for understanding more advanced mathematical principles in the later years. And now let's discuss the few key concepts and the skills covered in the foundational literacy. Yes, foundational literacy helps the children to understand the numbers sequence like 1, 2, 3, and so on. And it helps them to count objects accurately. It means one-to-one correspondence will be there. Now, if I show the number 1 and the child is able to relate with the related quantity, even when we try to call out the number 3, the child now is ready to associate with a triangle or is able to associate with the wheels of the auto. So that's how the one-to-one correspondence would take place this stage. And yes, it helps them counting forward, backward, and all, because the spatial concepts will help them to know the positions and then the what do you call the value behind the given number. And yes, it helps the foundation numeracy would help the children to identify and recognize numbers from 0 to 9, or it to the depends upon the class, age group, on the class the learners are, and along with their number names. And it also helps them to associate numerals with their quantities. And yes, foundation numeracy would help the children to understand that number represents quantity, which means the number 3 represents the 3 objects, and grasping the concept of more and less, or few and many, empty, full, all these things are connected to the number-based operations. And yes, it helps them to know that the last number counted represents the total quantity. It means the last number counted in a set of 5 objects is nothing but 5. So that's how the child would develop that cardiality. And then you would see the learners here in this foundational stage, the learners develop the skill of additions, which means combining 2 or more sets, and subtraction, which means the takeaway from a set. And they also are getting equipped with the problem solving skills involving additions and subtraction. It means they connect these mathematical operations through to the real life situations. Like, say, for example, I got 3 chocolate. I wanted to give 1 chocolate to my friend. So that's how the child is able to connect with the real-time situations also. And yes, the foundational numeracy would help the learners to recognize and continue the simple number patterns like counting 2s or counting by 5s, counting by 4s. So it means they know the number patterns in a very effective way, because they get what you call a manipulative experiences also in this stage. And yes, in this stage, you would see the learners are equipped to identify and name the basic shapes like circle, square, triangle, rectangle, and also the other shapes like oval, cylinder. All these things are the basic things that the child will try to associate in the real-time situation, where these shape-related knowledge would help the learners to simulate with the objects around. And yes, the learners when they are equipped with the spatial awareness, they know the positions of different objects, thereby they know, okay, these many objects are above. It means they can relate the number along with the positions also. Right. And then, yes, through the foundational numeracy, you would see the learners are getting introduced to the basic measurements like length, weight, capacity. And then you would also see that the learners use a non-standard measurements using the, what do you call, the simple objects. Like, say, for example, even if you give a small building, that is a blocks or even a jump clip, you can help the learners to actually find the height of the bottle using the jump. So likewise, the child will start developing the measurement using the regular equipments that is available around. Right. And you would also see through the foundational numeracy, the learners develop the skill of comparing the quantities like few, many. They know the relationship of how, why these, that is, why it is called few, why it is called many, why it is called equal, why it is called more, why it is called less. So it means they know to actually connect with the, what do you call, the quantity by comparing. And you also would see that the learners at this stage would develop the skill of ordering the objects according to the size, from small to big, big to small, large to, that is heavy to light, light to heavy, tall to short, short to tall. So this is how the learners are equipped with. And here you would see that the learners develop that recognizing skills of small quantities of object without even counting. They know, oh, this is 4, this is 5. Like, say, for example, if you give a dice, by looking at the, instead of counting, they would say, okay, this is number 4, this is number 3, this is number 2. So the small quantities of objects are subsidized by the learners through the repeated exposure of the number with the counting activity. Right. And you would also see that the learners develop that critical thinking, logical reasoning, and by their age appropriate activities involvement, they would definitely develop the skill of problem solving. And yes, this foundation numeracy would definitely help the learners to develop a level of automatic basic numerical skills, such as counting, number recognition, simple calculations like I have 2 chocolates and he's also having 2 chocolates. We both have same. So this is how the child is able to connect with the number with the quantity there. Yeah, and here the learners are also equipped in making guesses about the quantities of measurement. Okay, I wanted 5 blocks to build a tower. I wanted 3 wheels to for my auto. So this is how the child would develop the estimation skills by continuous observation and participation in the manipulated activities. And you would also see at this foundational stage, the learners develop the, what do you call, a skill of basic data representations, like tally, using the tally marks, or they also develop the skill of simple graphs and other things. Right, and you would also see the learners develop the basic money concept, money-related concepts, where they recognize the coins and the related values also. And yes, through the foundational numeracy, it is when it is best taught through the hands-on activities and the play-based learning experiences, it definitely makes the what do you call, makes the learners to enjoy math, and they can relate all these experiences in their real life situations. And once the children masters in the foundation concepts and the skills, they become more confident and more capable of mathematical operations, and they set a stage for the future academic success. Yes, developmental milestones are also a specific thing which I wanted all the pre-primary teachers to actually kindly note down the milestones, because we need to check as a pre-primary educators, we need to know the age and the stage wise. Is the child meeting the age-wise demands and the standards, or is the child is not, is below? So this information, what I'm going to share with you, would definitely help you to observe your learners and their ability also, right? So here, before I begin, well, let me try to share few of the details about what a developmental milestone and why it is very important. Yes, the developmental milestones are specific skills and abilities that the children typically achieve in certain ages. For pre-primary children between 3 to 5 years, foundational numeracy milestone indicates the progress that they make in their mathematical understandings and skills. It is important to remember that every child is unique and may reach these milestones at a slightly different times because of the background they come from, because not every child comes with the same background. So this is very important for every pre-primary educator to understand. And let me share the key developmental milestone for the pre-primary children in the foundational numeracy. For instance, like counting, by the age of 3, you would see the child can count up to 10 objects. And by the age of 4, you would see the children can count up to 20 objects. And by the age of 5, you would see children can count up to 30 objects or more. Right. And when we try to talk about the number recognition, yes, by the age of 3, you would see the children recognizes and can identify a few numerals at least till 5. And by 4, you would see at least they would be able to recognize till 10. And by 5, they will be able to at least recognize till 20. Right. And when we try to talk about the one-to-one correspondence, yes, at the age of 3, the learners begin to understand the concepts of one-to-one correspondence when counting objects. And yes, above 4, that is 4 and above, they demonstrate improved one-to-one correspondence when counting and organizing the objects. Right. And yes, for the number concepts, by the age of 3, you would see the learners begin to understand that the number represents quantities and can use phrases like more, less, few, many, big, small. Right. And yes, at the age of 4, you would say one more, one less. They know the quantity behind. And also at the age of 5, you would understand that the learners would use the basic addition, subtraction operations like combining, taking away, and they will start relating with the real life situations. And when it comes to shapes and patterns, at the age of 3, they can identify the name of the basic shapes like circle, square, triangle, rectangle. And by the age of 4, you would see the child will be able to recognize and can sort objects based on the shapes and the colors. And by the age of 5, you would see they can create and extend simple patterns using the shapes of the objects. Yes, and when it comes to measurement, yes, by the age of 3, you would see children begin to compare objects based on their size, like big, small, and the length, long, short. And by the age of 4, you would see the children are ready to, they understand the basic measurement concepts like longer, shorter, taller, heavier. And by the age of 5, they will also have the comparison, like they can use the non-standard units, and also they know the comparison, like the superlative comparison, like big, bigger, bigger, small, smaller, smallest, tall, taller, tallest, short, shorter, shortest. So these are the comparative degrees also. They can, by this stage, they will be able to what you call develop. Right. And you would see by the age of 3, they understand the basic position words like up, down, on, under. And by the age of 4, they demonstrate a better understanding of the spatial relationship and can follow the simple directions and also the instructions. And by the age of 5, you would see they can describe and follow more complex spatial instructions like say, for example, they know whether the book, that is the pencil, the one pencil is on the book or in the box. right? So likewise, they know the spatial with the quantity. Yep. And you would see that the learners by the age of 3, they recognize small set of objects without counting. It means identifying the numbers of dots on the dice, and then you would see by the age of 4 they can subsidize larger set of objects, like recognizing the number of dots on the dominoes. If you have experienced the domino cards in your class, you would see that by the age, that is your LKG learners would be able to develop the have the skill. And by the age of 5, you can see that the learners can subsidize multiple set of objects, like recognizing 2 groups of dots without counting. It means when you keep 2 dice, and they would be able to know, okay, how many is together, right? How many is the count together? So that's how they are equipped in the counting readiness there. And yes, by the age of 3, you would see they begin to engage in the basic problem solving task with the teacher's guidance. And by the age of 4, you would see that they can demonstrate improved problem solving abilities with the familiar and the concrete situations. And by the age of 5, you can see that they can solve simple math problems. And they independently they use the basic addition operations, and they can also do the subtraction concepts here. Now, let's talk about the challenges that the teachers in the foundational year faces every time, right? Here, when we talk about teaching foundational numeracy to the young children, it can be rewarding, but it also comes with its own challenges. And let's discuss few of the challenges what the teacher faces every day. Yes, the first thing is the short attention span. Yes, young children have limited attention span, making it challenging to keep them engaged in the number lessons, because most of the time these number symbols are abstract. And until unless the teacher gives a scope for the learners for their real-time experience with the manipulatives, the number readiness is not comfortable for these learners. And the strategies that the teacher can adopt to overcome this short attention span is, you can use interactive and the hands-on activities to make the learning fun and captivating. And you can also incorporate movements and games to keep children active and attentive, and break the lessons into short, manageable segments to maintain that focus, rather than aiming for the higher objectives and other things. You can start breaking down the lessons into short and the meaningful sessions, right? And when we talk about the other challenge which the children mostly have is, children in the pre-primary classrooms may have the different level of readiness and they learning paces, which makes their learning difficult. And yes, the teacher who has to actually handle these learners would definitely feel really challenging, because the teacher accommodating the mixed ability and managing individual needs is little hectic for the teacher. And the strategy the teacher could adopt is adopting the differentiation instructions by providing variety of activities to their individual needs, and offer small group or one-on-one support for the children who need extra help for more challenging tasks, and use assessment data to identify the specific learning needs. Like, say for example, now if so-and-so child is good in counting but is not able to associate it with the related number, why is the child having the sight problem, or is the child is not able to use the related number because of the speech problem? What is the problem the child is facing? So early detection is very, very important for the teacher, and so that the teacher can scaffold the child or can do the proper guidance for the later development. Yeah. Yes, the foundational numeracy involves introducing abstract concepts, because every number, if it has not been introduced along with the quantity, is an abstract concept, so which can be a challenging for the young minds to grasp. The strategies what the teacher can adopt is relate the concept to the real life situation and everyday object to make them more concrete and relatable. Use visual aids, manipulatives, and props to help the children visualize and understand the abstract ideas. Incorporate, most of the time children love, and also this involves the usage of the storytelling will definitely make the learners to expand their attention span. So incorporating storytelling and the play-based activities to contextualize their mathematical operations would be an effective task to make the learners develop their interest in the abstract concept. And yes, pre-primary children may have the limited vocabulary, which can hinder their ability to express the mathematical ideas and understand mathematical language, because they don't know how to express. So use simple and age-appropriate language when we introduce the new concept. Reinforce, like say, for example, when we are trying to talk about forward and backward, first let the child know what is forward and what is backward. It means the movement. So allow the learners, come on, let's move. One step. One step. So likewise, try to give the learners that meaningful task so that the child applies it in the real-time situation and then relate to the what you call with the concept, and reinforce the key vocabulary through the repetitions or the context and make the learners understand the meaning behind the vocabulary that is being used for every pre-math concepts, and encourage your learners to use the gestures and drawings to communicate their ideas. It means it is very, very important that when you try to talk about a few of the concepts like big, small, tall, short, so only with these type of gestures, the children will immediately they get connected with the concepts rather than we making them to read the spellings B-I-G, big, S-M-A-L-L. So do not complicate the child's vocabulary understanding there, right? Now, yes, some children may have the fear of making mistakes in front of their peers, and that leads an anxiety or reluctance to participate in the numerical activities. To overcome this, the teacher can adopt a strategy where you can create a supportive or the non-judgmental learning environment where the mistakes are seen as opportunities for the learning. Praise the efforts and progress rather than solely focusing on the correct answers. It means at least whether the learners are attempting, whether the learners are trying to use a meaningful effort is what is important, rather than making the learners trying to, what do you call, have the experiencing the fear. And yes, it is very important to encourage the peer collaborations and cooperation to foster a sense of belonging and mutual support. Right. And yes, there should be a limited resources. It means the lack of adequate teaching resources and the materials can hurdle in delivering the effective numeracy lessons. So it's very important that the teacher adopts a strategy to be creative in using everyday objects as a teaching aid, like say, for example, the soft toys, even bottle caps will become a teaching resource for counting exercises, and seek support from the school administrators or the parents to acquire the creative additional resources. Utilize technology to access online educational resources, because today technology is becoming a great support for giving the digital resources for the teacher to have an effective classroom situation. And yes, teachers often have the limited time for numeracy instructions due to the diverse range of topics they need to cover within a given time. And yes, the teacher can adopt the strategy to integrate numbers into the other subjects and activities to maximize. So the cross-curricular active would be the ultimate result, and you using transition times effectively by incorporating quick math-related exercises and prioritize essential fundamental numeracy concepts and focus on mastery before moving to the next. So it means helping the learners to master rather than we focusing on completing the portions, covering the portions, the teacher ensuring that the learner's meaningful learning is very, very important. And yes, the parental involvement is limited in numeracy development. That can impact the child's progress. And the strategy that the teacher can adopt is providing the parent with a regular update on the child's progress and the area of focus. Offer workshops if possible, so that the resources are observed by the parent, and they can also understand what are the tools and the techniques that the teacher is using. And then the teacher will start, that is the learners, the parents will start realizing the importance of connecting the home and the school procedures. And you can also encourage the parents to engage in the numerical activities with their children in their everyday routine. Yes, now let's discuss on engaging the activities for numeracy development among our preschoolers. When we talk about the hands-on activities, games, and play-based learnings, which are effective way to introduce the numeracy concepts to the young children, these approaches make learning enjoyable and also meaningful, which helps the children develop a strong foundation in the math operations. Now let me take this opportunity to introduce a few of the hands-on activities so that the teachers can take it further for their classroom operation. Yes, the counting with manipulatives, using objects like building blocks, buttons, or the toys to help the children practice counting and one-to-one correspondence. And you can also come up with the activity like number hunt, which creates a number scavenger hunt where the children search for the numbers and in their environment. You can also engage them with signs, labels, and books, where the children can try to figure out where and what, and they can match the numbers. And you can also come up with a giant number line on the floor and ask the learners to jump on it, and they can call out the number. Even that's a wonderful cognitive and the physical developmental activity. And yes, providing children with various shape cutouts of the colored papers and having them to create collage using shapes, so that the children can come up with a meaningful symbol or what do you call a caricature, which would help them to develop their creativity, imagination, and they will start relating the shapes with the objects that they look around. Right, so they will start connecting. Okay, this bottle is cylinder in shape, it has a round bottle, so that's how the child will start connecting it. Got it. And yes, using items like cubes, buttons, or the paper clips to measure the length of the objects around the classrooms or the playground. Definitely, these type of simple activities would definitely help the children to measure the non-standard units. And yes, creating bingo cards is also one of the beautiful activity which I really love, because children will have more fun when they have a bingo there. So even this is a wonderful activity. And then you can have, even for their physical development, aesthetic, musical development, or the language development, you can use the number of math freeze dance, where you can play the music, have the learners to dance around. When the music stops, you can call out a number and let the children group themselves to the called out number. And those learners who are odd, who doesn't have that group, who doesn't belong to that group, the person will be out. So such type of game would definitely create a curiosity, interest. They will know to count self. So all these type of physical and the child will develop that curiosity and interest in the class. Right, and the activity like pattern walk, yeah, this would definitely help the learners to incorporate the language, logical, and also sometimes you would see the children would come up with a creative way of expressions also, like the creative allowing the children to walk on the pattern that is given. The child will say left, right, stop. So this is how the child will start developing his own chanting way, and the child will start loving to participate in such type of activities. right? And yes, cooking math mostly forget about the gender and other things. Definitely every child at this age loves cooking math activities, where even to prepare a 2 minutes Maggi noodles, like how many that is what is the amount of water the child is supposed to use. So all these type of things, when it has been inquired or when it has been made to be participated, the child knows the quantity and the count of the number of items used to prepare any food. So that's how the child will start connecting with the number, with the quantity association. Yes, when the activity like shape hunt, where you can give a dedicated shape where the child can go hunt for the shape in the real-time experience and try to connect. So here you will see the child will be able to use the vocabulary like big, small, same, different, near, far. So these type of words will be automatically. Yes, I could find 5 circle-shaped objects. I could find 3 rectangle-shaped objects. So the child was able to connect the numbers, the different vocabularies related to the spatial concepts. So it is like ultimately these type of activities definitely would help the child to what do you call, equip with the overall development. Now, when we talk about integrating numeracy in the everyday life, yes, it is very, very important that the teacher is helping the learners to integrate the numerical skills in their everyday activity. And let's see few of the activities that the teacher can experience in the class, like the calendar time, where during morning routines, you can involve the children in updating the calendar by identifying the date, the day, and the month. And you can also make the learners to do a shopping math, where you can organize a grocery shopping with a simulation of the grocery shop, and ask the children to count the items or help them to weigh the fruits and the vegetables on the scale. You can also bring in the what you call time telling by helping them to introduce the basic time telling concepts by which they can discuss in their daily routines. And you can also come up, create a pretend store where the children can use play money to buy the items that can be sold. And you can also bring in encourage the learners to sort some toys or some cereals or some blocks according to their shape, color, size. So by incorporating these type of hands-on activities or the games and everyday experience, the teacher can engage the learners meaningfully for associating with the numerical learning, and that would relate to the real world. And such interactive and the play-based approaches not only make the learning fun, but also reinforce the foundational numeracy concepts in a more meaningful way. And yes, developing number sense in the pre-primary students is crucial, as it forms the foundation for their mathematical understandings, number sense. It refers a deep understanding of numbers and their relationship, which goes beyond the mere counting. So here now in the later slides, let's discuss some effective strategies to develop number sense in the pre-primary among the pre-primary students, along with the counting activities. Let's also discuss few rhymes and the manipulative based activities in the future slides. Yeah, subsidizing practice is one of the very beautiful tasks that to build the number sense, where subsidizing is the ability to recognize small quantities of objects instantly without counting. Like as we discussed previously, either you can allow the children to use the dominoes or the 10 frames. The child will know by looking at the 10 frame, the child will know, yeah, this is 110, 2 10s, 3 10s, 1 10s. 2 10s make 20, 3 10s make 30. So that's how the subsidizing practice can happen. And show the cards or the dice quickly and ask the students to call out the numbers of the dots they see, if it is dominoes related, or you can use the tens frame so that the child is now 110 and 1 makes 11, 110 and 2 1s make 2. Well, 1 tens and 3 ones. So here the child is developing that number sense little speeder, and the confidence level will be improved here. And yes, engaging the students in the regular number tasks where they can discuss various ways to represent the number. For example, if it is number 6, they can say 3 plus 3 makes 6, 4 plus 2 makes 6, 5 plus 1 makes 6. So here you are making the learners to develop that number pair additions, like uh, uh, like uh, uh, 9 and 1 makes 10, 8 and 2 makes 10, 7 and 3 makes 10. So likewise, the child can develop that number talk, and encouraging students to share their reasonings and listen to each other's strategy is a wonderful task where you will see that there will be a pure assessments and the child will develop confident in number counting there. Yeah, and yes, using the counting rhymes like 5 little monkeys or 10 little ducks or 10 little. So all these number rhymes and incorporating counting activity would definitely make the learners develop interest, and incorporating movements along with the actions while reciting the rhyme would be more interactive and more engaging in the class. And yeah, providing number puzzles or the cards with missing numbers in sequence, or allowing the students to identify the missing numbers and making them to place it correctly, and asking others to find whether the place number is correct or not. So these type of activity would develop social skills, number readiness, and also you would see that the learners will definitely develop the sequential order also. Right. And yeah, making the students to collect small objects around and count them in 2 different ways, by ones, twos, fives, to develop the flexible counting strategy, where encouraging the students to organize the objects into groups to develop understanding. Like say, for example, okay, now the teacher giving these many buttons or these many beads and asking them, okay, now I wanted you to arrange it in twos or threes or fives. So here the child will develop, okay, 1, 2, 3, the first group, 1, 2, 3, the second group. So this is how the counting collection. So now how many groups you have done? Okay, 3 and 3 and 3, and totally how much? Yes, it is 9. So this is how the child will develop the speed and counting in the later stage. Got it. And using manipulators for the quantity for understanding, where providing manipulators like counting bars, cubes, counters for the hands-on activities definitely will help the learners to explore the quantity and the number relationship, and helping the learners to practice adding and subtracting using the manipulators would definitely build a concrete understanding on the basic operations. Yes, and when we talk about the number comparison, yes, when we engage the students with the activities that involves comparing the quantity, like more, less, few, many, big, small, they use, they definitely, they will develop that number sense, and also they will know why it is called big and why it is called small, why it is called more and why it is called. So either the teacher can make the learners to use the balance scales, or asking the learners to place the what do you call objects, and start knowing the difference. Okay, this is a big bag, this is a small bag. Oh, this big bag is heavy, the small bag is lighter. So the child will start developing the comparison. Why is this bag big and heavy? Because this bag has 10 books inside. And this bag is small bag and is lighter because this bag has just 2 books inside. So this is how the child can develop that number sense when it is being given as an experience in the class. Right. And yes, number board activity, where using diagrams or the visual representations, helping the learners to develop that number sequence. Like, now, say, for example, if the given number is 5, the child should be able to develop the object pair addition and the number pair addition. Like 3 and 2 makes 5. 4 and 1 makes 5. So this is how the child need to develop that number bond for the given numbers. So that how this 5 object happens, because these are the number, that is the value involved in that. So that's how the teacher can make the learners develop that speed and addition. Right. Now, story problems and the contextual learning is again a beautiful task where this can be related to the real life situations and making math more meaningful, and the students can connect to their regular activities and encouraging the learners to that is accommodating the learners to involve in drawing activity or coloring activity or solving the puzzles related to the story. Now, say for example, if it is a story based this thing, now asking the learners to arrange the story card and sequence. Okay, this is the first scene and this is the next scene, then next. So this is how the child will develop the sequential order where the logical thinking, problem solving technique would take place there. Yeah, and yes, the math games and activities like using the playboard, that is the board games where, like say for example, the board games which involves counting, adding, subtracting, definitely will make the math learning enjoyable. And children, when the more frequent they are using the dice, the most stronger they will develop that interest in number counting, like adding, subtracting. Whenever they're rolling, okay, there is nothing, there is zero, there is one, yeah, this is my turn now. Okay, you got two, you got three. So the child knows, okay, two, she got three and I got four. The movements, all these things, the child will start relating and develop the speed of associating number with the quantity there, right? And yes, teaching shapes through the real life examples and pattern recognition activities can make the learning process more engaging and meaningful for the pre-primary students. And yes, now let me take a small, simple efforts to make you all understand what are the different strategies that we can incorporate to approach these pattern making, what do you call, activities more meaningful. We can try to use the real life shape hunts where taking the students on the shape hunt around the school and the classroom, make them to look for the shape in the environment like circles. When it is a circle, asking them to find which are the objects that look circle in shape, where the child can connect right from the clock in the class and then the wheels of the bus. So likewise, the child can start connecting, and the activities like shape sorting, where you can provide a variety of objects and toys in the different shapes and asking the students to sort, classify them according to the group based on their shapes. And you can also make them to sort, you can give them the sorting mats or the containers that has a label of different shapes where the child can, okay, this box has square on it, so I have to put the square shape objects in this. So likewise, the child at the nursery level or the LKG level can pick, or they can group it, they can classify it based on the if such type of activity is accommodated. Yeah, you can have a shape art where you can engage the students to in the project where they can use the cutouts of the shapes and create the pictures or the collage. You can also provide the shapes like color papers and encourage them to create their own design artwork here. And yes, you can also give them the introduce the 3D shapes by making them to identify the objects around, like cylinder, can. That is, if it is if the target is making the learners to identify the cylinder shape objects, right, where the cans, cones, and if you wanted them to use the cone shape objects, where they can try to relate with ice cream cones. So on, you can start making the learners, like when you wanted them to go with the spear shape where they can connect with the ball there, right? So such type of exposure would definitely help the learners to develop that interest with the 3D shapes in their environment. And yes, providing pattern blocks, puzzles where the students recreate a new design using those blocks would be definitely engaging, and also that would create more interest in them. And then you would see children when they play with the patterns, they recognize the different shapes, and they also create simple patterns like, say for example, now flower, red flower, yellow flower, orange. Orange, red, yellow, orange, red, yellow, orange. So this is how they can create the patterns. So that becomes more. So later on, they know pattern is applicable in their real life situations also, right from getting up from the bed till they go back to the bed. Every routine the child performs would adopt a pattern. So that's how they keep connecting with the, okay, yesterday I did this, okay, I repeated the same today, tomorrow I will do the same. So this is how they will try to correlate it. Got it. Now you can also make them to what do you call use some books, read books or sing songs that emphasizes pattern making, like a brown what do you see around, where do you go to find this place. So likewise you can start making create some small songs where the child can develop that interest. Okay, now I can have I can catch a green object. Now I can find for an yellow object. So this is how you can start bringing the pattern book and the songs in the class, and using tangrams where the child can develop, that is you can see the geometrical shapes being confidently used by the class students, where they can come up with with their own creativity and come up with the meaningful shapes of objects, like they can come up with a car or a hut or a building using the tangram activities. And yes, you can also have make the students to form a different shapes with their bodies, like circle for their tummy, circle for their head, and then a rectangle shape for their hands. So likewise you can make the learners to recreate their body structure using the shapes. Right. So this would be some sort of by using such type of real life examples and patterns, which would help the pre-primary students develop a deeper understanding of the shapes and their properties. By interacting with these type of hands-on activities and by the teacher's regular interval monitoring, guiding them, the child will develop the what you call interest, association, and will have the meaningful exposure to face the world around them. Now, when we talk about the measurement, yes, introducing basic measurement and comparing objects based on their size and the quantity in the fundamental numeracy is essential for developing children's spatial awareness and also understanding of measurement concepts. Now, let me share a few of the hands-on, that is the activities that the teacher can incorporate in the class, like hands-on measurement tool, where by providing students with tools such as rulers, measuring tapes, and measuring cups, and allowing them to explore, compare the length and the breadth, the length of the object, length of the room, how far, how near. So the child will have a meaningful learning to know the measurement. And yes, non-standard units where you can make them to what do you call build blocks using the that is using the paper clips or building blocks. You can ask them to actually measure the given object. So the child will start developing that interest and start, okay, this table is 4 to 5 feet long. So that's how they will start relating in their real life examples. Yes, size sorting activity, where if the children are given a collection of objects of various sizes and asking them to sort the objects from the smallest to the largest, and might be from largest to the smallest, and helping them to use the manipulatives where they can choose more or 2 or more objects of different lengths and asking them to compare them. Use language, allowing them to use languages like shorter than, longer than, taller than. So these type of comparative, that is superlative or the comparative usage of these vocabularies would help them to develop that comparing scopes of the given objects. Yes, and allowing the students to measure the what do you call the length of the room. So such type of activity would definitely make them there will be a physical development, there is a cognitive development, there is a social development, and the child will also feel emotionally connected. Okay, I'm able to measure my classroom. So this is how the child will develop that interest and relate with the real time. Yes, using the collection of small objects objects like beads or buttons in the different colors, and allowing the students to compare the group of objects based on their quantity would definitely help them to realize, okay, this is more and this is less. These are few and these are many. Those things which are countable are applicable for few and many concepts. And those things which are uncountable, like something which can be poured, something which cannot be counted, like pulses, grains, grass, powder, right? Trees on the leaf. These are all the uncountable objects which the child can use only the concepts like more and less. So the usage of the right vocabulary and training them to use the right vocabulary is also very important. So we can have measuring capacity activity, height comparison activity, and we can also introduce standard units where you can ask them to actually use their weighing scales to measure the different objects, right? And from which number to which number it happens, so that the child will know, okay, it starts from this number and it is ending with this number. So this is this centimeter tall. So this is how the child will be able to relate the measurings, right? And you can also use a picture book where you can make the children to find the size of the object. You can also help the learners to identify the number of similar objects, different objects, which looks big, which looks small, right? And you can also take them to the outdoor activity where you can ask the learners, okay, now look at the garden. Now, how many trees are looking same? How many trees are looking different? How many number of trees are there in our school garden? So this is how the teacher can try to relate the number with the meaningful operations there, right? And you can also engage your learners with the cooking and the baking games. Yeah, and yes, assessment is also one of the very important strategy where informal assessment techniques like observation and documentations are very, very important to check on the foundation numeracy in the early years. With the methods what we are going to discuss now would definitely help the teacher to get some insight to help the learners right from their early years. What are the meaningful operations that a child can carry, and where are the difficulties the learners are experiencing? Got it? So the first thing is informal conversation, where you can engage in informal conversation with the learners and check about their understanding of the numbers or the shapes or the basic mathematical, and ask open-ended questions to assess their reasoning and the problem-solving skills. Yes, you can also conduct math games where you can observe the children during the math games and activities to assess their engagement, interactions, and grasp their activity, and look for evidences of counting skills, shapes, recognitions, and the basic problems. Yeah, assess on their one-on-one as a correspondence, where there is a you have to have an one-on-one assessment to observe the child's ability of counting, their recognition skill of numbers, their association with the numbers, and are they able to relate with the shape for the given objects? Are they able to use simple and meaningful sentence to describe the problem? So all these things would definitely help the teacher to support the learner for the later this thing. And yes, you can also have collect the work samples of the children, including the completed worksheets or the drawings or the math related artworks. You can analyze their work to understand their understanding of the numeracy. And you can also observe the children in their day-to-day routine, like how they are counting the days on the calendar, discussing the shapes in the environment, or measuring on the the ingredients used for the cooking activities, or the amount of color used for the painting activities and other things, right? And you can also come up encourage the children to keep the math journals where they can express their mathematical thinking and through drawings, simple explanations, and you can review those journals on the daily basis and put your thoughts on it. Oh, these set of children were able to understand this concept so well. Now, say for example, when the child is what do you call introduced with ascending order and descending order, is the child able to relate with the family members by drawing self of the family members, smallest to biggest and other things? So by checking the journals, the teacher would know their understanding capability. Yeah, and yes, using formative assessment techniques like quick quizzes, tickets, or thumbs up, thumbs down responses to check on their understanding after the specific concept introductions, and use feedback to from the learners, so that whether you will know whether they really understood, whether they are able to really relate with their real life situations. And yes, keep an anecdotal record during the classroom activities, group activities, and individual interactions also, which would help you to observe their milestones of the numerical development. Yeah, and yes, as teachers, it is very, very important that we involving the parents in their assessment process by sharing the observation work and samples, and making the parents understand the progress of the learners in the numerical development. Yes, creating a portfolio of each child containing samples of their work, observations, progress, their progress, the working progress would definitely help the teacher to actually showcase the class standards, and also track the mathematical growth over time of her set of learners. Right now, when we talk about differentiated instructions, yes, it is very important. We, in the last previous 5 classes, we were trying to talk about the differentiated instructions, where addressing the diverse learning needs is very, very important as a pre-primary teacher, and catering the individualized and the group activities based on the group requirements is very, very important. Yeah, and yes, collaborating with the parents and making them, that is conducting workshops and seminars, orienting the parents of what is important for the parent to understand about the learner's difficulty, the learner's what do you call, understanding capability. What is the learner good at? What are the things that the learners are finding challenging? Whether the child is meeting the age level milestone, or the learner is still delayed. What could be the reason? Orienting such type of things would definitely make the parents understand, and they can become a supportive parent for the teacher, right? And yes, technology integration is also one of the very important thing. And if the teacher and even the parent or the caregivers should ensure that whether the tools which are used by the learners are age appropriate and safe. And yes, we need to ensure there should be always a surveillance to balance the technology with the hands-on learning. It's not that the child should be only given with the gadgets there, or only exposed to the screen time always, right? And yes, in today's session, we covered about the importance of foundational numeracy. We try to cover the concepts and the skills that can be used, that are covered in the foundational numeracy, and the different strategies the teacher, the early years teacher, to adopt for the numeracy development for the early years. So these are the things that we have covered in this entire 1 hour session. And thanks for your patience, and all the very best.
Thank you, Rajashri ma'am. It was a wonderful session indeed. So now, audience, we are opening this platform of chat box for your questions, queries, or anything you would like to share. There were some hands were raised during the session, so please kindly enter your questions. And we also remind you that today, at the end of the session, we'll be having a quiz, and we'll be posting this Google form in the chat box itself. So please stay with us. Do not leave the session. And you need to, after the question answer session, we'll be sharing the link about the quiz. Thank you.
Any questions, Rupa?
Yeah, not yet. Very informative session. For time, there is one question for time measurement.
The time can be connected with the real-time experience where rather than introducing the clock as a time, where the teacher can use the daily routine first, like the different part of a day, like starting from the different part of the day, like morning, afternoon, evening, night. Now, what did you do in the morning? What are the different activities? Now, why do we call it as morning? So then now, yesterday, today, tomorrow. So that's how the child can connect the time and slowly, okay, in the morning, by this time, what were you doing? So then the child, so directly do not introduce time as a concept using the clock there. So using the clock would be reading of time there, right? So that is in the later stage. So initially try to connect with the day cycle and today, that is connecting with yesterday, today, tomorrow, older, younger. Why she is called older? Because she was elder to me. So that's how the time of that is relating with the person's life cycle. So all these things are very important rather than directly checking with the time.
Thank you, ma'am. There is one more question. What numbers should be taught in KG1?
It is again the individual school perspective, because there are few schools who opt for numbers till 20. There are few schools who opt for till 100. But ideally, I would recommend if not more than 50, because the child need to know the number with the quantity is very important rather than just rote memorizing the numbers. So by the end of KG2, that is KG1, if the learners are experiencing reading and writing, the numbers from 1 to 50 is more than enough. That would be, that is along with the meaningful operation. Like it means the child is able to associate number with the quantity. That's more than enough.
Right, ma'am. There is a few more questions coming up. So as students are having recognition problem, how can we improve recognition of numbers?
See, unlike yesterday's input, it's very important how the teacher is trying to balance the visual, auditory, and the kinesthetic learners, where identification problem would definitely happen if the teacher is not stimulating the environment through displays, and also repeatedly helping the learner to observe the number relating with the quantity, right? Rather than just forcing the child to write in the check notebooks. You will see the child's position just having the hair like the writing O, N, E. So this is how the children will get this thing. Rather, helping the learners in the meaningful operation and associating the same number patterns on the display board and connecting the teacher trying to use the teaching technique using those displays would definitely the learner's identification skill.
For small classes, teaching daily life things to introduce shape, isn't it right?
It is very important. See, everything that is right from the first day onwards, the child is experiencing the objects around. It means every day, including you and me, we are the objects in front of a child. We have a shape. Likewise, every object the child is looking or using or experiencing has a shape, right? And only by the shape of the object, we will know the name of the object. Now, say, for example, if I talk about the shape of an apple, only by the shape you will know whether it is an apple. I cannot show a round thing and I cannot say this is an apple. Right? So because apple has a defined shape, likewise, every object has its own defined shape. So it's very important how the teacher is trying to connect the child with the shape as a concept. It has to be introduced in that age.
We'll take up one more question because
yes.
audience is waiting for the quiz also.
Yeah, sure.
So there is one more question. What about multiplication table for kids?
Multiplication table for a pre-primary is at most sin, I would say. See, first help the
Second
learners
you,
to
ma'am.
develop, help the learners to understand the concept of repeated addition. First and foremost thing, let them be comfortable in addition. Addition as a concept. Let them have experience of addition using objects, addition using pairs, that is number pair additions, that is object pair additions, and then let the child relate the addition concept in the real life situation, and then let the child know the subtraction concepts, and then slowly you can take them to the next level. No, so here in pre-primary, please do not touch the multiplication process.
Okay, so one more question.
Yeah.
When to begin number names?
Number names, see, number name is nothing but it's a sight word which can get that is it can be introduced along with the numbers. See, let's not treat number name as a spelling there, right? It is just it is a name for the given number, and let the what do you call, the word being presented as a frame for the given number along with the object, along with the number name. So it means all three things should be like one frame, so that the child, when the child is listening to the number, seeing the number, the child is able to associate with the quantity and also the number name. So these things should happen. So let's not that is focus more on teaching the spelling of number names. Ultimately, where is the child going to use the number names in the real-time situation? Only when he is writing the check or some vouchers there, right? So otherwise, where is the child is going to write? Now it's too early for the child. So by then the child will develop that sight of number names. Got it? So here it is very important focusing on the number with the quantity and also the abstract symbol of numbers. That's it, along with the number names. So all these things should have a frame for the learners.
I'll just look for some questions if there are any. All right, audience. So I think we have answered all your questions, and it was a wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity. Yeah, and it was very nice to be a part of the 6-day session, and I had a great experience researching, coming up with a slide. I hope I have given the meaningful information to all my audience, and thank you so much, team, for giving me a lovely opportunity like this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really wonderful. So now we'll be, dear audience, we'll be sharing the quiz link here. My colleague will help you. It will be there in the chat box. So here it is.
And all the very best.
In the chat box. Kindly take up this quiz. All the best.
All the very best. Thank you, Rupa. Thank you, team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You can share a few more times. The YouTube channel links, recordings are shared here. You can take note of it, or you can also go to YouTube and type CPD workshop from Eschan CPD workshop. You'll be getting all the 6 sessions. And we have shared the quiz link. All the best, teachers. Thank you very much.
Teachers, please copy this quiz link so that you can attend the quiz once you can get the understanding of the sessions through the YouTube links. So just copy this link as of now so that you can attend this quiz later on. as this quiz link will be active till tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. So please take your time, revise your concepts, and then attend this quiz so that you can perform better. And also we will select 3 winners out of this quiz. So please take your time, then attend this quiz. I repeat again, teachers, please copy this quiz link as of now, and you can attend the quiz later on also, because this will be live till tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. So revise your concepts, go through the YouTube videos, the recordings, then please take this quiz. As of now, you can copy the quiz links and the YouTube links so that you can take the quiz later on. We will select 3 winners out of this quiz. So please do well. Thank you. You have to click on this link first, then you can copy it in your...
From the browser. Click the link and then it will open in your browser. You can copy it from there if it is not getting copied from here. Dear audience, please click on the link and you can copy it through your browser also.
This link message and just like press on it, and then it will give you the option to copy it. Just press for a second or two, and then you will get the option to copy it. If you are like opening from your mobile or from your like if you are opening through laptop or your computer, you can just select the entire message and you can copy it in your browser or in your Word doc somewhere else. Teachers, we'll keep this meeting live till 5:35 so that you can copy the link easily. Feedback form will be sent to your registered email IDs after this session. So it will be sent to you by 6 or after that. So don't worry about the feedback form. Please just copy the quiz link as of now and the YouTube links. Those who have copied the link, they can leave the meeting. But those who are still doing it, please just copy the link. And after that, you can leave the meeting.